Hey guys, so I'm actually going to go over the buyer personas in this video, and then I'll just kind of cover what you need to be doing since we didn't have class today. So buyer personas, so it's all about getting to know your ideal customer really with the buyer persona. And it's almost like an avatar. You can think of it as an avatar based on different target audiences that you're trying to attract. So you want to know their backgrounds, their goals, their challenges, their interests, their needs, how old they are, where they went to school, if they have kids, what does their life kind of look like, where do they live, what social media networks do they use. Those are all really important things to know about your customers because that can help you target them better if you know those things and you create content like advertising content that's actually geared towards getting those people to buy your product. So creating very specific buyer personas can dramatically improve your business results. So this is a proven thing. It does work if you do this right. It can really help your business out. Obviously, I know you guys this is like a somewhat fictional thing for a lot of you. Some of it's completely fictional. But this is just practice, okay? But I do want to explain to you in this lecture what a buyer persona is. And we are going to attempt to make buyer personas and then also make ads geared towards those specific customer types. So buyer personas are fictional, generalized representations of your ideal customers, kind of like an avatar. They help you understand your customers and your prospective customers as well, and it will make it easier for you to tailor your ad content to their specific needs, behaviors, concerns, social media channels, those kinds of things. They matter at a basic level, these buyer personas, because they help personalize or target your marketing for different segments of your audience that you're trying to reach. So instead of sending the same email to everyone in your contact list, you can actually segment your contact list out into buyer personas and tailor your messaging to those target audiences and send out different emails for each of those audiences that's going to capture their attention and get them to hopefully interact and buy from your company. So this is going to go over, how to research for a buyer persona. I know typically most of you guys are not going to be researching unless you really want to. I mean, I could maybe see Tana's mom wanting to interview a few customers potentially, but honestly, if that doesn't happen, at least an interview with Tana's mom, she might actually be able to tell Tana, well, these are some of the 3 of the customers that I can really think of that are probably the main ones that I serve. And she might be able to help Tana out with that just from, the top of her head. But some of you are starting with a new business or one that's kind of a fictional thing. So, I mean, you kind of just have to use your imagination, honestly, on the next, what we're going to be working on. But I'll go over how you would actually go about researching the buyer persona, even though we're not going to be doing that in this class. So buyer personas are created through research and surveys and interviews of your target audiences. That's a mix of customers, prospects, which are potential customers, and even those outside of your database or your contact list that might align with your target audience. So you would interview your current customers and potential customers, either in person or over the phone, and discover what they like about your product or service and discover just some information about them in general. And then you would look for behavioral trends. So you'd look through your contact list or database, to uncover trends about how certain leads or customers, how they find and consume your content. You'd optimize the forms, on your website to capture important persona information so that you can build your personas from forms off of your website. So if a lot of your personas vary on company size, asking information about company size on your forms on the website or even physical forms is important for you to do. So you need to, create forms that help you build your personas. And you could talk to your sales team too if you have a sales team. Most of you, I don't think, do, but if you did have one, you could talk to them and just get some ideas about the different customer types that your company is serving. So, this is just how to find interviewees for researching buyer personas. Your actual existing customer base is a great place to start. You can do both good and bad customers. You want to know from both sides, your prospective customers, your potential customers. You want to interview those people. Even though they haven't purchased your product or know much about your company, it'd still be good to get an interview in with some of those people. Referrals, you might have to rely on some referrals to talk to people, particularly if you're heading into new markets or don't have any customers yet. You can also use third-party networks to interview people. Craigslist actually allows you to post ads for people interested in any kind of job. So you could have, people fill out surveys through Craigslist. Usertesting.com is another place that you can use to run remote user testing. So get some information from different people through those places. If you want to recruit interviewees, you can use an incentive. You can be clear it's not a sales call because people don't like sales call. And just make it easy to say yes. So these are some of the questions that you would ask during an interview with some of these people. What's your job? What does your typical day look like? What skills are required to do your job? Who do you report to? Who reports to you? In which industry or industries does your company work? What's the size of your company? What are you responsible for? What does it mean to be successful in your role? So a lot of this is job oriented. What are your biggest challenges? This could actually be job or just challenges in their life in general. So where do you learn about new information? What blogs do you read? What publications do you read? If you know that they subscribe to certain publications, then you can potentially put advertising on those sites. What associations and social networks do you participate in? So, if it's a younger person, they probably use Snapchat. So if you're trying to reach a younger demographic, a younger audience, you want to create a persona for that younger audience. And if their preferred social media is TikTok or Snapchat, then you're going to have to make some advertising in those avenues and in those social media networks to try and get more of that customer type, that younger customer type. Personal background, this one's important. Your demographic. What's your age? Are you married? Do you have children? What's your sex? Male, female? Describe your educational background. Where do you live? What are your interests? How do you prefer to interact with vendors? Email, phone, text, in person? Do you use the internet to research vendors or products? If so, how do you search for information? Describe a recent purchase. Why do you consider a purchase? What was the evaluation process? How did you just decide to purchase that product? And then you would create your buyer persona from the interviews that you got from your potential customers, from your customers, and just from random people. So you want to use that information to identify patterns and commonalities from your interview questions, and you can develop at least one primary persona, and you might make more. Some companies have 20 personas, and this is how having a buyer personas can help you out. It can help you have a better understanding of where your personas spend their time online, and then you can reallocate your ad spend. So maybe you're spending a lot of money on newsprint advertisement in the newspaper, and most of your customers are younger and none of them read the newspaper. So you can actually reallocate the money that you're spending to spend it on different social media channels that would actually meet those people where they're at, those younger people. So you don't want to be running ads in a newspaper when you're trying to reach younger people, and that's just a waste of money. You can reallocate your human resources. So if there's a lot of your target audience on Instagram, then you want to make sure someone on your team is regularly monitoring that network. And then also, if you know your personas, you can actually create language in your advertising that speaks to them, and that will help to bring them into the fold and hopefully purchase your product. You can also, if you have a contact list, you can start segmenting that out by buyer persona. So if you have a list segmentation, you can actually send out emails that are targeted to different personas on your list. And that will help you create more efficiency in your advertising and more targeted messages in your audience, in your advertising to certain audiences that are your buyer persona, basically. So, and you can create specific content, specific ads that target a specific persona, and you're going to get better results. So whatever money you spend on that specific piece of content, it's going to be more successful for you if you're targeting a certain audience. And you can also look at old ads that you've made and take them down if you think that they're not aligning with your personas. There's some other ones here that we can, I don't know if I'm really going to go over much, but you can use it to create dynamic content and tailor your website to different personas. You can also do co-marketing with companies that your personas follow, which will help to target those audiences and those personas. So personas are pretty important, honestly. Like I said, we're not actually going to go through the research process, but I did want to go over that with you in the lecture because maybe someday you might want to do that. So this is something that you would download. We'll take a look at this. This is a PowerPoint presentation. You need to fill this out for 3 ideal customer types for your business. So you're going to be more using your imagination on this one. You're not actually going to be working off of research more than likely. I'm going to have to open this in Keynote because I don't have PowerPoint, but you can actually use PowerPoint if you go here. This will take you and you just have to follow these directions and you should be able to use PowerPoint. Okay, so you'll have to use this link. But basically this template, you'll fill this out for 3 ideal customer types. There's 2 pages per customer. So, and we just fill in the information and you're going to be guessing on some of this, right? Like you're not going to know all of these things, but you can kind of make something up. You might have some kind of idea of what types of customers you're going to be getting, and that you want. So do the best you can with that. I understand you're not actually working off of real research, and then, so after you do that, you'll work on the text and imagery ideas worksheet, which is pretty simple, but we want to actually open this up in Canva, and you want to make a copy of this. Like, actually, let me open this up in Chrome. I'll show it to you quickly. I'm logged in on Chrome, so so this is what it looks like. You want to make a copy of this by going File, Make a Copy first, and then start filling it out. Okay, so the information, there's directions here. You're basically going to create unique headlines, subhead, body copy, imagery ideas, that kind of thing for specific ads for each of the buyer personas that you created. So this is for ad number 1 for buyer persona number 1, ad number 2 for buyer persona number 2, ad number 3 for buyer persona number 3. Okay, so you need to come up with different headlines, subhead, body copy, time-sensitive promos, imagery, call to action, contact. Obviously, the logo is something that I just put in there just so you don't forget that you need that in your ad. But so we're coming up with ideas for 3 different ads that target each of those 3 buyer personas that you created in the template that you filled out. So you got to fill the template out first to create your buyer personas and then come up with your text and imagery ideas. So I hope this was a helpful video for you. This is basically kind of what I was going to go over in class with you guys. We will critique later. So anyway, we'll talk to you soon.